What's up guys, Paul here from DPTV doing this episode solo. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the new episode, Dragon Ball Super episode 78, where we get the actual start of the Universal Survival arc. Last episode, or the Tournament of Power. The last episode, they kind of, led it to where Goku finally explained to Xeno-sama to start the tournament. In this episode, it starts directly with the biggest plot twist that we already knew, but the characters didn't know. Oh my god. If you lose, your universe is erased, which is pretty much they're just going to destroy your universe completely. Before we get to the recap part of this episode, I do want to make a quick note that we loved the fact that the animation quality was exactly the same as previous episodes, which is really good because it's a great animation quality. And Dragon Ball Super had always, lacked that a bit. But for this tournament arc so far, they've really got that animation down packed, and I think that's going to really help boost keep the hype going for this arc, because if the animation quality was slacking, a lot of people probably wouldn't be as interested in it. But not the people who all hate on DBS, they always hate on the same shit. The animation quality is bad, but now they can't even hate on that, so I would like to see what they're going to hate on, right? So it starts again where they explain everything, that they gathered the Dragon Balls and Champa provided them. So Champa was probably going to use a wish on something else, but he's like, I donated them, which is funny, I guess. It sets that whoever the best fighter is of the entire tournament is going to receive the Dragon Balls, which is nice to know that it's not the winner. So, immediately I thought, and I'm assuming David thought, and I'm assuming everybody there thought that Goku is going to get the Dragon Balls at the end of the tournament and wish for all the destroyed universes to come back. But I'm gonna make a little twist on that and not say that Goku is gonna get it. I'm gonna say either Goku, Vegeta, or someone that we know is gonna get it. Maybe even the alien that fights Goku the final fight, and the alien ends up winning. Then Universe 7 is then destroyed, and then the alien is gonna be like, what, I really enjoyed fighting Goku. I'm gonna wish all the universes back so we can fight in the future. So I think whoever gets the Super Dragon Balls is just gonna wish for everyone to come back so that they can continue fighting in the future. I don't think it's going to be more of a greedy wish, and I really doubt that, and because there's no way that they're going to destroy all the universes and leave them all destroyed. I think in this series it could happen, like maybe a couple universes don't come back, but if they're going to wish universes back, they're just going to wish all the universes back, I feel. And especially if it's one of the important fighters, which I feel like it's either going to be Goku, Vegeta, or the alien. Maybe I really doubt it, but it's going to be one of them OP fighters, and they're going to come back and wish for all the universes to come back so that they can fight in the future. Once the Grand Prix does say that all the universes are going to be destroyed, Goku does get kind of freaked out for the first time in a long time, just because Whis and Beerus tell him that he has to take responsibility, which was no one likes the R word, and so Goku's like, shit, I have to get 3 fighters because they're going to do a preliminary fight against Universe 9 to show the future Xeno-sama about the fighting style, because if you remember, the future Xeno didn't see the Universe 6 versus 7 tournament, so he doesn't know what's going to be going on. So the other Xeno's like, yo, let's get a preliminary fight so you can see how it goes, and then after that we'll start the real tournament. So he gets 3 people, and he goes back into Earth, and then he asks Vegeta, obviously, because why wouldn't you ask Vegeta? But Bulma's still pregnant, so Vegeta still doesn't want to fight because he's a good dad, unlike Goku. And it's funny because they just show both parallels right away, where Vegeta doesn't want to fight because he's pregnant, and Vegeta asks him to, ask his son. And then Goku's like, but Goten's busy fighting Trunks. Oh, you meant Gohan. Oh, and then, it goes to him going to Gohan. And then he asks Gohan, and since Gohan doesn't want to fight, he does the douchebag move and like, yo, if you don't fight, this universe is donezo. And then, Gohan's obviously, whenever anything's at stake, Gohan is there. He does rationally tell Goku not to tell anybody else, which is really good thinking. And Beerus does mention that later in the episode, because if you would tell everybody else, it'd be panic. Like Krillin, if you tell Krillin, like, oh, you have to fight or the universe is going to be destroyed, that man would not be able to fight. But then and also Boo comes along, and then he just asks Boo to fight because, you don't really have to tell Boo anything. You just got to give him some chocolate. Kind of like me. If you want me to do anything, you just give me chocolate and I'm down. So then, they go to the Grand Priest's place, or Xeno's place, and they meet the Grand Priest. They meet everybody. They meet all the gods. So we finally get an actual in-depth look on the gods. We see Gowasu there. Apparently his God tube is doing pretty fucking good because he looks like fancy. He looks like he's cashing in those God tube checks like left and right. People are clicking his ads. And then we see the Universe 9 fighters that we're going to fight against are 3 mammals, a fox, a coyote, and a wolf, and they look really interesting. And then you see the Clown God of Destruction and Harley Quinn, and you see the hooded figure. He's a lot more covered up than in the preview, because before in the preview you could see his glove, so we knew it was the alien thing. But I guess now that I guess it'd be obvious because of the intro. They covered it up completely, which is funny because he's there, but no one else has any fighters with them. And I do want to say that all the God of Destructions look really dope. There's this one like ugly looking little midget one that looks really fucking creepy, and then there's like the big robot which looks cool, which we all saw that already in the intro in-depth analysis that we had just did. If you want to like go ahead and click that, you can go ahead and do that. So then, you know, Goku just goes up and tells Xeno-chan like, hey, what's up? And then Beerus destroys him because, you know, Goku's not being mature and all the other universes are probably like, dude, this universe is a little disrespectful, right? And then finally we see like, oh, okay, we're gonna start fighting. So they bring in Basil. I think Basil is the name of the fox. And then Boo is gonna fight him, but he's sleeping. And then as soon as we saw that, me and Dave looked at each other like, oh my god, this happened again. Boo isn't gonna fight again. And then here Hercule's like, no, wait, this is why I'm here, and gives him the chocolate. And he's like, if you win this fight, we'll give you more chocolate. And then we're finally going to see Boo fight for the first time in hundreds, like 100 episodes, right? Worth of Dragon Ball content. And he's, at first he's getting beat up, but you know, we know that Boo's not taking damage. But to the kicking guys in Universe 9 and all the other universes are probably like, damn, this guy's getting destroyed. But we know Boo isn't taking any damage from that. And it just completely decimates him. Like, he's like kicking the shit out of him, but Boo ain't taking damage, but it looks good on his end, obviously. And then at the end, you see Boo smiling. Obviously, that can mean a couple things. Either he's having a good time, or he knows he's gonna win. I think it's a little bit of both. Like, Boo knows he could just destroy that guy. Like, everybody knows that he could destroy that guy. He could just turn up the chocolate and eat him. And it doesn't seem like killing is out of the question in this tournament. They didn't specify that you can kill. They just said that until your opponent can't fight or they admit defeat, right? So that's a thing. And I really think that's important to know, because you know that he's not just gonna like, the fact that killing's allowed, I think is really important, because it wasn't allowed before. So maybe one of the fighters is gonna die. I really doubt that though, because this is just the preliminaries, and after this, you know, the actual tournament's gonna start with all 10 fighters of every universe. It's also cool to know that this is a one-on-one tournament, but I don't think they really specified if the actual tournament is gonna be one-on-one. More or less that this preliminary exhibition match is gonna be one-on-one. Overall, this episode was really good. I really like, you know, the funny moments with Beerus and Boo. They just have continuously made, and Hercule too. Like, they just really made them really funny. Like, that's what I really liked about this episode. It was action-packed with a little bit of fighting with Basil and Boo. You see that next episode is going to be just, most likely the whole episode is going to be them two fighting. You got the comedy parts of, you know, Hercule, Satan, and Boo. And then Hercule, Satan, and Boo. You know, that's two people that are the same. Hercule, Boo, and Beerus is what I meant to say. And then you got, you know, like the plot development of, you know, all the universes will die and all the serious talks, you know, the introduction of the other gods. Like, this episode is just really good, and it's setting a really good pace for this tournament, where it's not looking like this arc is going to be really fast, or because in the Universe 6 vs 7 arc, you had Botomo fight versus Goku in the first episode of the arc, or like, you know, the first fight of the arc, and it ended in the same episode. Whereas this episode, you know, it's at least going to drag on 2 episodes. I do think that the fight is going to end in the next episode. I don't think they're going to drag it out too long. It's not like a crazy fight or anything. But I do think, you know, just the fact that it's not taking only 1 episode is setting a pace that's really good for this arc. Let me know overall what you guys think about this episode in the comments below. Again, I really enjoyed it, and the animation quality just really helped it out. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell to be notified whenever we upload. We try to get reviews and predictions out for every episode of Dragon Ball Super. And if you have any suggestions for any videos you want us to tackle, leave them in the comments below, and we'll be sure to take care of them. Thank you guys again for watching. My name is Paul, and I'm signing out. Peace out, guys.